Low gutturals for beginners. If you're new to screaming and want to do loud, powerful, low gutturals, this guide will get you started quickly. For this tutorial, a guttural is simply a very low scream. Now, there's several types of gutturals you can do, but if you're just starting out, we want to follow 3 main steps. 1, get the bass distortion. 2, shape the tone to sound demonic. And 3, make it go low. Okay, so step 1, getting the bass distortion. So in metal screaming, there are 2 main types of distortions. Fry screaming distortion happens when you close your throat in a certain way and make your vocal cords vibrate together like this. And this creates fry distortion. Oh! False chord screams happen when you vibrate different tissues called your vestibular folds, and it makes it flap around like this, and that creates a different type of distortion that sounds like this. Oh! So the thing is, you can use either of these as the bass for a guttural, but I would say the easiest starting point for beginners is to do a fry scream, but inhale. So to do this, close your vocal cords by holding your breath, and then inhale through those closed vocal cords. And if you do it right, you'll get a static white noise sound. So experiment with different levels of squeeze and inhale speeds to change the texture and volume. So the advantage of this distortion is that it's easy to learn for most people. The downside is that it won't necessarily sound as full as an exhale fry or an exhale false chord scream. And by the way, if you want to learn those techniques, check out the free training video I've linked in the description. Plus, if you're more interested in in-depth coaching, then it'll show you how to get in contact with me as well. So click that link in the description if you're interested. Okay, so now we know how to create a bass distortion. Let's move on to step 2, shaping the tone to sound demonic. Okay, so screaming is kind of like playing a flute. When you change the shape of your mouth, tongue, and your throat, you can change the airflow, and therefore you'll get different sounds. For example, so first we want to shape the sound to sound kind of demonic. And to do this, you need to create 2 different tones at once. And we do this by manipulating your tongue so that some air goes down one path and some other air goes down the other. So there's many different ways to achieve this kind of effect, but many make it harder to pronounce words. So one of the easiest methods that works for some people is to take your tongue and bridge it forward like this. And play around with splitting up the air with your tongue. And for me, I almost think about it like air is like one pocket of air is leaving my mouth above my tongue. And then another pocket of air is just kind of just behind my tongue. And you can kind of hear it when I'm doing it like kind of clean. So if you add the distortion that we got from step 1 to this tongue shape, then you'll get a sound kind of like this. Okay, so now you can kind of hear how there's 2 different tones emerging and it's starting to sound a little demonic. Okay, so now that we have that demonic tone, we want to move on to step 3, making it go low. So many people struggle going low because they lose distortion or run out of air. And this happens because they think that going lower means singing a lower note or opening up your throat to go low. And that's actually the opposite of what you should do for a scream like this. And the reason why is that if you open up to go low, then you're like a balloon with a big hole in it, where if you can imagine a balloon with a big hole in it, it's gonna run out of air quickly. And plus, remember, in order to do a fry distortion, which is what we're doing, your tissues need to be together to sputter to create distortion. And they can't do that if your throat is wide open. You won't get that same sputtering effect. So that naturally makes you ask the question, okay, well, how do we go low without opening up? So the key is that you don't actually want to try to go low. Instead, what we want to do is we want you to muffle the tone to make it darker. And this prevents higher frequencies from escaping, and it also magnifies the lower frequencies. And so we can do this by changing your mouth position this time. Last time we changed your tongue position, now we want to change your mouth position. And so one way to do this is to close your mouth more, ow, and use kind of like an ooh or vowel, ow. And if you do this right, then the sound will get lower without you having to open up your throat. Okay, so let's recap and I'll demonstrate how it all sounds putting it together. So first, to get a guttural scream as a beginner, find your bass distortion. And in this case, if you're a beginner, I'd recommend starting with an inhale scream. And then after that, create dual tones by manipulating your tongue shape. And then step 3, you want to make it lower by closing your mouth more and using an ooh or an vowel. So if you need any extra help with this, or if you want to learn how to do an exhale fry scream or a false chord scream for more of kind of a fuller sort of guttural, then remember to check out the free training video I made for you in the description. So click that link to get free access to all of this. And once again, if you're interested in more personalized coaching, it'll show you how to reach out to me for that as well. Okay, so now you know how to get really low gutturals. What if you want to get really high? If that interests you, check this video out.